go. The druids are gonna come and get us.
All right. I think
Well?
we should be back on YouTube.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yes, I just got the notification. We're live again. Hello, YouTube.
Hey,
We're
YouTube.
sorry.
Hey,
We're
YouTube.
back.
If you noticed that, we started talking about Epstein's Island and P. Diddy and child sex trafficking and naming a couple names, and then, like clockwork, magically our YouTube completely froze. It was still streaming. It was still live. We were still on the bumper. The music was still playing.
It looked like I was still seeing bumpers on mine
Yeah.
because I'm watching it on here. And
Yeah, everything was still live, but the computer itself, I couldn't use the mouse. Everything else, I could pull up, Control Delete, Task Manager, I could pull it up.
Right.
Could not click on anything with the mouse. So I'm like, I'll go get a wired mouse and plug it in. No power to the mouse when I plugged it in.
Really?
Yeah. So I completely restarted the computer. Welcome back to the stream if you're joining us. And yeah, we're talking about the child sex trafficking rink in Hollywood, and it's like clockwork. Anytime we bring the stuff up on air, something happens.
Yeah, that's very.
And you guys have seen it firsthand now. If you haven't been with us when we, got shut down for talking about JFK and the Pandora Papers and all the other trigger words, here we go.
It happens. It happens pretty like clockwork.
Yeah.
It happens pretty.
Yeah. And I said
Each
before
time.
before we started recording today that if we're going to get taken down in conspiracy theory season, it's probably going to be
this one.
today.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah, you guys were talking about Diddy while I was trying to fix all of that, and the surveillance videos that came out of him
In May.
in
Yes.
May. And
Also, in May, after that was when he did his public video apology for that.
that's what
was-
they got him, right? That is like why they arrested him.
Yes,
Is because of
that
that
is-
video.
That is when they. Well, technically no, because the videos. So little workaround
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I'm jumping.
Sure.
So the hotel Casey Ventura
Yeah. Whatever. Cassie
assault
Casey.
footage was given to CNN by government official agents, and I think because his house was both of his properties were raided by the Department of Homeland Security in March, and then May is when the surveillance video came out.
Yeah.
I think that Diddy had it in his house. I think he got
You
it
think
from
they
the
found
hotel.
it in the raid?
And they found it in the raid, and they gave it to CNN
Interesting.
because
That
the
he like
timeline,
bought it off the hotel or something, so
Yeah,
it wouldn't get out.
It had to be right.
Yeah. What's interesting to me, and I guess it's a good sign that our government turned this over. However, I think it's interesting this wasn't like a TMZ. This seems like something that would be a TMZ drop.
Right.
Also, side note, Cassie Ventura was 19 and he was 34.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, legal, but
Right.
weird.
Right. Where else do you want to go with Diddy? I know we got a few minutes in the second segment here.
Okay, so
I know we kind of got thrown
Yeah.
off by
Dude,
losing stream.
the Grove.
Yeah.
The Grove
Let's
was
get
coming
into
for us.
September 2024.
Okay.
This is when Diddy was indicted by the federal grand jury in Manhattan, and his charges were exactly sex trafficking, racketeering, and, quote, creation of a criminal enterprise in which he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
That's the legit court.
That is the court wording.
Interesting.
And then he pled not guilty. He was denied twice for bail. And he also proposed a gag order to have government officials not be able to leak any of the information to the media.
Was that denied as well?
That was also
Good.
denied.
Here's the interesting part to me, and we touched on this briefly before. I don't remember what exactly we were talking about, but now we touched on it recently. Of because Epstein's dead and Maxwell's in jail and Diddy's in jail, this isn't the end of it. These aren't the end-all, be-all of these rings. These are fall guys. And maybe they're really high up. Maybe they are the heads of it. But there's definitely a lot of people involved. And until all of these people are persecuted or named or exposed, it's not over. The next guy is going to step up. That's the unfortunate part.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But there's still a lot of people yet to be named in the Diddy case.
We don't have names from Epstein. That's
true.
why I'm not confident we're going to get the names for Diddy.
I think we'll get some names from
I think
Diddy,
we're going to
though.
get a handful of fall guys.
Yeah, I think we'll get some names, but again, I think that
And I think this is what we need to be pushing for.
Diddy's not shy to fall guys. I have a story on that, too.
The game?
No.
it's all about the game.
But there's a situation where Diddy, it's a conspiracy within a conspiracy, kind of, because Diddy was involved in something and somebody else took the heat.
Well, let's pick that up when we come back. 216-859-8699. Hopefully, we'll stay on air this time. If you're watching on the simulcast on YouTube, 216-859-8699. Again, that number to text in as long as everything stays on air, as long as, nothing gets between the radio waves. Magically, when we talk about all these high-ranking celebrities and names and everything else that somehow, even on our show, where we make poo-poo jokes and pee-pee jokes and stand in line at the piss store.
They find us.
They like to silence us. If you listen to me on After Midnight here, it's true. If you've listened to our show for 5 years, it's been true that anytime we bring up Epstein or the Clintons or the Pandora Papers or anything that questions the narrative we're being told, something goes wrong. 216-859-8699. States. Welcome back to the Rebel Radio Show, live, uncut, and uncensored. I think on WSRR Radio. I was trying
Hopefully.
to check the radio stream itself during the break if YouTube went down on the simulcast. And because of that, we're all over the place now and a little scattered. So I believe I want to talk about Synergy Music Studio out of Chicago. They're one of our greatest supporters and supporters of independent music in general. If you're in the Chicago area and you need something mixed, mastered, record, or even a live video performance, check out Synergy Music Studio. They're in Upper Lawrenceville. Oh, no, but that's Lawrenceville's PA.
Yeah.
That's Hellbender.
Hellbender. Sorry, I'm all scattered.
You're mixing it.
I'm all scattered after
Dude, the Grove.
getting everything back on board here.
The Grove got
Synergy Music
us.
Studios in Chicago,
Yeah.
Illinois. Even if you're not in Chicago, you can take advantage of Synergy Music Studios' awesome services, though, and you can take advantage of their reamping service, where they run your track back through mastering through specific amps and get a specific tone fit to your liking, get you album or radio ready again. SynergyMusicStudio.com. They're one of our great sponsors as well as supporters of independent and local music. We've been talking about a lot regarding the upper echelon and Hollyweird and the child sex trafficking ring. And we've already been taken down today, if you missed that. Welcome
They
back.
got us.
So now that we're getting more into current day and the new upcoming information, I guess, of P. Diddy, Sean Combs. I
Good
feel
old
like we need to
Sean.
start calling him Sean Combs now, by the way.
Sean Diddy Combs.
Yeah, we shouldn't call him Diddy anymore. That's
Like,
kind of creepy.
He's kind of lost his ability to use a pseudonym.
yeah.
You're no longer famous for being a rapper. You're famous for touching kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just Sean Combs now.
Yeah. I feel like I was trying to get to this before he got cut off too. I think as a society, I know it's
Society.
we are a society.
Yeah.
I know it's election season. I know there's a lot of things going around in the mainstream media in general, but I think as a society, we need to push more for more results and more information on Epstein, on Diddy, and all of this Hollywood scandal that's
Right.
going on.
Right.
But Jules, continue with what you're saying.
So I touched a little on Diddy not being, Sean Combs.
Sean
not
Combs.
being, like, shy to Fall Guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not the
So-
game.
Not the game.
Ah,
But
come on.
there was an incident that I came across while researching Diddy that I didn't know about that I thought was kind of fucking wild.
Yeah.
So when J-Lo and Sean Combs were dating, they were involved in a incident at a nightclub in New York in 1999. There was gunfire that left 3 people injured. Basically, it was J-Lo, Diddy, their bodyguard, Anthony Wolf Jones, and a 21-year-old rapper that was, like, being mentored by Diddy. At the time,
Sure.
Diddy was 30, and he was 21. His name was Jamal Shane Barrow.
Oh my gosh.
But, so
me.
the 4 fled the scene in a car and were chased down by the police and arrested and charged. J-Lo's charges dropped very quickly, but the 3 others were in a very long trial where Combs and their security guard, Jones, were both acquitted.
Wolf, you mean Wolf
Yeah,
Jones?
Wolf Jones. They were
Wolf
acquitted.
is a sick name.
It is.
But the
Alright.
21-year-old rapper took the fall.
Mm.
Barrow, he was found guilty of possession of a weapon, first-degree assault, reckless endangerment, and then he was acquitted of attempted murder. He served 9 years, and somebody, I have her name, Natinia Rubin, she was one of the 3 that was shot. At the time, she went on record and said that Sean Combs had shot her. And she, after the FBI raid, she went on some news station again and said that she will have the bullet removed from her face for FBI testing and evidence.
She got shot in the face?
Yeah, in the face.
That's crazy.
I also
Imagine
wanna-
getting shot in the face, keep the evidence there for
But-
however many years, and then she's like, all right, I'm going to bust you now. Get the bullet out of my face.
But the biggest pool now
Not if you're Martin Luther King.
is Barrow, the one that took the fall. He is now the opposition party leader in the Belize House of Representatives.
Where's that?
Politics.
In Belize? In Belize?
He's a part of some Belizean politics, bro. It's crazy.
I just want to point out, too, that it seems to be, now more than ever, I think people need to talk about the fact that it was rumored for a long time that he put out the hit that got Pac killed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Biggie.
Yeah.
It was both. And the guy, the fall guy for it, ended up coming out and saying, like, no, pretty much know I was a
Mhm.
fall guy sort of thing.
Oh,
I
really?
think, don't quote me. I know there's like a bunch of new stuff that just came to light about the Tupac
He
assassination.
got the James Earl Ray treatment.
I'm just saying, if you know, all of this is coming out about Diddy now, I don't think that's. I didn't think it was unbelievable then, but I don't think it's
Yeah, I don't
any
think that's out
surprise
of
now that this could
picture.
be a reality.
Diddy's fucking wild. There are
I want to make a real quick tie too at a video I saw, and I showed it to you. I'm not sure if I sent it to you, Shane. He was on Nickelodeon on All That, P
Mhm.
Diddy, with Dan Schneider.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah.
And there was a bit about putting a toy airplane down a kid's pants,
Mm-hmm.
and Diddy was controlling it.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, so Diddy and Dan Schneider were pretty tight too, apparently.
That makes sense.
And he was hanging out on the set of All That, which was quite the topic a few months ago on the show.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. The
So
ties are tying together.
I think we need to take another look at Dan Schneider through this too. I'm just saying. He was the one guy that kind of got off with all that. Like,
Yeah,
it
and,
seemed
like-
at the end of the day, he got the least heat. Like,
even with the
legit
Drake
legal
Bell,
heat.
even with the Drake Bell thing,
Yeah.
like he kind of just slid under the. If
Mhm.
anything, it painted him in like an okay light. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Drake
Most
Bell,
people went to bat for him
Yeah.
right?
that worked with him.
It's a tangled web we
Yeah.
weave. Like we chop the heads off of everyone.
I wonder if he ever was at a Diddy party.
Who,
Probably.
Dan Schneider?
Yeah.
I don't doubt it.
Probably,
Well,
bro.
and that's the thing is, like, I want, just like Bohemian Grove, I want to know why people aren't talking about this thing. And maybe it's because they know Diddy put out a hit that got Pac and Biggie killed. Maybe that's
Right.
why, that they know he had that kind of pull.
Right.
I think now that he's in custody, maybe it's the fear that, whoever else is in this with him
Mhm.
would do it. But it's like, I think it's just like the Dan Schneider thing. I think it's time that we start, seeing the other side of this thing.
Yeah. Right.
And hearing other people's testimonies, because from my knowledge, there's a lot of people tied to Diddy, right?
Well, yeah, and
That are like not
like-
public knowledge legally, but like it seems
they should
pretty
know some
plausible.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like J Lo.
Yeah.
And then Usher, who brought Diddy Bieber.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Which
and-
that's a whole thing with him. I know we touched on that briefly when all this stuff first broke. That
Mhm.
like Diddy was patting down Bieber for a wire the last time he saw him, and
Weird.
yeah,
Weird.
well,
because he was 13, Justin Bieber, when he was discovered, something
Probably
like that.
Yeah.
something
15?
like that.
Yeah,
well, he was 15 when he spent a whole 48 hours with Diddy.
Mm.
that is true.
And on the video, Bieber at 15 is asked, "What do you want to go do?" And Bieber goes, "Well, let's go get some girls." And Diddy goes, "A man after my own heart."
I'm just
Mm.
saying that whole scenario sounds very familiar to the Drake Bell staying at Peck's house,
Yeah.
Yeah.
unattended, unwanted.
Right.
Yeah, that's too close to me.
Well, so from the age of 15 to like 23, maybe,
Yeah.
Bieber was a regular at Diddy's house.
Yeah,
And like there was an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians in 2014 where Khloe said that she had attended a Diddy party, and she said that there were people there that were all like half naked, and then her sister was like, "Well, who was there?"
yeah,
Like a
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
regular person would ask, and she said Diddy, Bieber, French Montana, and at the time Bieber had just turned 20.
Right.
Yeah.
So if he was already comfortable being half naked then,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
what was he doing before?
Listen, if anyone was at these parties and wants to clear their name, the only thing that they need to be doing is giving away who is at these parties. And I
Yeah.
don't see a lot of people coming out and doing that. I see a lot of people lawyering up and being in hiding and being real quiet.
Right.
And that tells you more than you need to know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, there's a Ashton Kutcher's name has been coming up a lot recently.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
There's a video that has been shown recently that it's Ashton Kutcher, the 12-year-old girl, Delvia Chase.
Sure.
She played the scary girl in The Ring.
Sure.
Mm.
So it's Ashton, her, and Diddy
Mhm.
all
This is-
standing
this is
side by
when?
side.
A while ago,
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
probably around when The Ring came out.
Right.
Yeah. She had been invited to a Diddy party.
Which,
And-
weird. Stop
Yeah.
inviting underage
Yeah,
children to
yeah.
parties.
Just because they're famous doesn't mean they have to be there.
Doesn't
Yeah.
mean you need to invite the girl from the ring.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a video where they were standing there basically just sandwiching her, but they all had their clothes on, but she was
Still.
Yeah.
slurring her words, having a hard time getting sentences out,
Uh-huh.
and like both of them were kind of like, "It's okay, take your time, you're doing great," like kind of felt like
Yeah.
coaching her through
Right.
it,
Sure.
Right.
and it just had an eerie vibe.
Hmm.
And like most of the people who are there's 120 accusers in this case.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez.
They're being represented by Tony Busby. That's the
Shout out Tony Busby.
yeah,
Yeah.
Doing
100%.
the Lord's work.
Right.
And so, like, most of the people, I went through hundreds of the accounts that are public,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all stating that they were drugged, that they barely remember the
Right.
party, that
Yeah, right. Things got
out of hand quickly.
yeah,
Yeah.
things got icky dicky. Okay.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up Ashton Kutcher. It's not the first time we've mentioned him on the show in Scandal.
Sure.
He's very deep into Scientology, and then wrote appeal letters, right, for Danny Masterson. Him and
Yeah.
Mila
Mhm.
both did.
Yeah.
He
For
also-
character witness for Danny Masterson when
Yeah.
he got convicted with
Yeah.
three counts of rape, and he was charged with 2.
Wasn't he involved in the
Danny Masterson, that is.
Yeah.
the writing letters for the guy from Nickelodeon?
No, that was what the fuck is his name? He played Cyclops.
Oh, yeah. I forget his name. but-
Marsden, James Marsden.
Yeah.
That was him.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sonic.
Yeah.
James Marsden.
Yes.
Oh, this is what I was gonna say about Danny Masterson and like the Ashton Kutcher thing, and why someone like Danny Masterson may have gotten caught over someone like Ashton Kutcher. And like, Jules, didn't you say Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis live in the they moved to the UK?
Yeah, they dropped their citizenship for the U.S. and moved
That's
to
so
the
weird.
United
Which,
Kingdom.
sorry, not to cut you off, but
no, you're fine.
Prince Andrew also heavily involved in the whole child sex trafficking thing with
Yeah.
Epstein,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's been brushed under the rug.
Right.
So I don't doubt they went to the UK.
Yeah.
But and like I don't know, and maybe again too with like the Nickelodeon Drake Bell, Dan Schneider, like
Yeah.
it seems like they are picking the
Little fish?
Yeah, the little fish. They're picking the low level targets,
Mhm.
and they're like trying to get information about that, and we just happened as the viewers to see how they're
It's correlated,
It's
yeah.
correlating, and so then we can draw the bigger picture of like,
Right.
well, X leads to Y, and Y leads to Z, and
Yeah.
I think that is, you start small with people like Danny Masterson, with the Drake Bell situation, and someone like Dan Schneider, small fish.
Yeah.
And then maybe a bigger fish is
Diddy.
Diddy or someone like that.
Yeah.
And then from Diddy, maybe we get the Epstein. Maybe this leads to us getting the Epstein
Sure.
flight logs. You know, like maybe it's 1 leads to 2 leads to 3 sort of situation of they started small. They started catching small people,
Yeah.
and then through the web are now getting bigger and bigger names.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole Ashton Kutcher aspect of this is very interesting to me because he's photographed with Diddy. A bunch of people have been.
Yeah,
Vince
right.
McMahon has a tweet that talks about hanging out with Diddy
Going
at
to
a
a
pool
Diddy
party.
party.
Yeah,
and we
right.
see where Vince McMahon is right now.
Right.
Which is, if that's not a crazy correlation, then what isn't? You know.
Right.
But with Ashton Kutcher especially, and like you were saying, Danny Masterson got caught. And to my knowledge, I could be wrong in this. I believe he was 3 counts of rape, and he was charged with 2. I believe is what it was. Or maybe it was 4 and
Something like
3,
that.
something like that. But he's in jail now. And Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, and I believe there was the parents from that 70s show too,
Yeah.
wrote like appeal letters for character witness of how
Yeah.
good of a guy he was. And then not a month later, we did a show on Scientology. I believe this is last year.
Yeah.
Did a show on Scientology, and they're all Scientologists together too.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's a 1-to-1 correlation with the Hollywood trafficking ring, but I think it's kind of odd that
It's interesting.
they're
Looking
all
to-
connected in these things.
Looking to Tommy C. What's
Yeah.
Tommy C doing?
Yeah. It's. I wouldn't be surprised if DiCaprio's name that pops up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because
Especially
that's like it's a running joke in
Yeah.
Hollywood
Yeah.
that like has been they joke
To
like
his
that.
face.
Yeah, like at award shows and
Yeah.
stuff like that. They make jokes about DiCaprio only dates young. If you're over 25, you're too old or something.
Yeah.
You know, like
I mean, fuck. If you're bringing up award shows, let's even go back 2 or 3 years ago when Ricky Gervais made the Epstein joke,
that's so
and people
iconic.
got offended
Yeah.
on camera.
that entire. I just rewatched that recently. That entire Ricky Gervais opening
Yeah.
monologue for the Golden Globes is iconic. I
Yeah, it
highly
is.
recommend all listeners go watch that.
And
It's
I
so
don't
funny.
like Ricky Gervais. I don't think he's that funny.
Uh-huh.
But my God, that killed. And
Yeah.
the fucking air sucked out of that room so quick.
Yeah, right.
And then life moved on. And
Yeah,
all of those
right.
people still got famous
Right.
and made money the following
Right.
years, and still are.
Like that is an old video, and nothing. There's
Nothing
no-
came of it.
Right.
Yeah. Everyone laughed and went, "Oh yeah, no, they're all pedophiles."
Okay.
All right, next award.
Yeah. Keep moving. Weird.
And I'm glad that he, I don't know a lot about Ricky Gervais, but I'm glad that he hosted 5 of them or something
Yeah.
and did all that and said, "No, this is the last one. Even if they invite me back, I wouldn't come back for
yeah.
this."
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Which is what we need, more people like that speak out against Hollywood in general, because I doubt this is even the whole child sex trafficking thing, which, don't get me wrong, is abhorrent.
Yeah.
But I doubt that's even the surface of everything that goes on.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
there's probably
yeah.
definitely weird, gross stuff that happens under the surface that we don't
Bohemian
know
Grove
about.
stuff.
Yeah, Bohemian Grove type stuff, and like you said, there's places like that all over the world.
Right,
There's
right.
there's secret fraternities like that all over the world.
And look at Ashton Kutcher. Look at Tom Hanks. They get caught here, or they're afraid they're on the verge of being caught. They'll just go get citizenship somewhere else.
yeah, right.
They're not going to prosecute him in the UK. They're not
Right.
going to prosecute him in Greece.
I
Right.
thought it was crazy that Diddy was connected to the Menendez brothers family.
They're the ones that killed their parents.
Yeah, because it was never proven, but it was because their dad was molesting them.
And they're up for retrial now?
It's a resentencing
Okay.
because
Isn't Kim Kardashian trying to like help them?
There's a bunch of people that are.
well, there was a new document, like a
Yeah.
whole thing that came out. There was a TV show that came out,
Yeah.
and the whole reason their second trial bombed was because OJ had lost, or they had lost the
OJ won.
well, the state had lost the
The
Yeah.
people versus OJ,
Yeah.
right?
and then so they wanted to put somebody on, like,
on blast.
yeah,
Mm.
and they said that they could not talk about the accused abuse because it doesn't happen to boys.
That's
that was
some
literally
bullshit.
said.
Mm.
So that's why everybody's up in arms about it.
What,
But
this is the Menendez brothers?
Yeah.
yes.
This is the retrial, the first retrial?
So they had they had one trial,
Uh-huh.
one retrial,
Uh-huh.
and then this is a resentencing.
So that statement was from the retrial.
yes, that
What,
was
do
the
you know when this
retrial.
was?
Whenever did or not Diddy?
Oh, so
OJ
OJ.
happened.
So what was that, late 90s, early 2000s, right?
Mhm.
'Cause it was 70s when they killed their parents.
I thought it was 80s.
No.
Okay. Interesting. I was just trying to make a timeline between that and the whole Drake Bell thing, because obviously that was the early 2000s too.
Yeah. Right.
And they let Peck go on character witness, essentially.
But Diddy's,
Yeah. Right.
Diddy's connection is his mentor was Clyde Davis, who ran what was it?
RCA?
RCA Records, and then he also had a couple other BMG. He had and Bad Boy Records with Diddy.
Yeah. Right.
But Clive Davis was like in works with the Menendez brothers' father, Jose Menendez,
Mhm.
and he was like their offices were right next to each other. They worked with each other every day.
Hmm.
Jose was abusing his kids.
Hmm.
Clive Davis is mentoring Diddy.
Right. 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 Right.
Created Bad Boy Records, which is where 90% of his accusers are from.
Sure.
Like all of them worked for him during Bad Boy Records, or like got their start
Yeah.
on Bad Boy
Yeah.
Records, and that's where they're accusing him of
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Doing
but,
all this freak off and shit.
Yeah.
but it's just crazy that right now all of that's happening. Even the Menendez resentencing is happening right now while Diddy's happening.
Yeah.
That's
Which
crazy.
his-
I didn't know the Menendez brothers were getting a resentence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's-
wild.
They killed their parents.
Right.
Yeah.
They killed their parents.
Well, it's been 35 years,
I
and they killed their parent. Nobody just kills their parents.
mean,
They
I
didn't
guess.
kill anybody else.
I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
right.
I've watched some videos. People just kill their parents sometimes.
I've never watched those videos, but
But they,
I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying it happens.
even their therapist was like the Menendez brothers is a whole thing in itself, but their therapist was paid by their father to tell him everything that they said in therapy.
Well, that's what happens when you're a minor.
No, it's not.
It is. The laws of confidentiality in a therapist don't apply to a minor.
Well, I don't think they were even minors they were 19 and something
Oh.
when they killed them.
I don't know much about the Menendez brothers, but I think there's an awful lot of links between not just Diddy, but Hollywood in general.
Yeah, Hollywood.
And I think that's the bigger picture is, like you
Yeah.
said, we might be looking at Diddy right now, and there might be a few names that come out, but this is going to keep happening within Hollywood.
yeah, because
Right.
it's been happening.
Fuck, we were
Right.
talking about Ellen 2 years ago on the show, and no one's heard from her ever since.
Yeah.
They
right.
got rid of her show because she was a bully, apparently.
Right.
And maybe she was, but that's far from the biggest fucking thing that was coming out about Ellen.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
no one hears from her. This is
Wasn't she
insane.
on house arrest?
She was.
Yeah.
This is the insane culture we live in, where I get it, politics is important, sure, but that's not the news. We're not, and it comes all the way back to what we talked about opening the show today: is media bias and who's paying
Yeah.
for what.
Right. Right.
Like you said, if everyone goes down who should go down, in even just Diddy's case, right?
Mhm.
Let's take Epstein out of it. Let's take Hollywood out of it. Let's just look at Diddy's case.
Mhm.
If you take down everybody that's involved, like you said, you're going to have business heads, corporations, banks, news stations, media personalities, entertainment.
Yeah, artists. Yeah.
It's going to be every facet when it's going to be a lot of America's income.
Do you
And it's
think
going to be
that's
one
why,
foul swoop.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why the charge is so specifically named with Diddy being the creator of a criminal enterprise?
Yeah, because
They're
they're
gonna
going to
take
go
him down.
after him for being a creator, and they're not going to go after anyone that
Anybody
worked
else.
with him.
Mm.
I mean, look how long it took to put Maxwell in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Years after Epstein, quote unquote, hung himself. It's ridiculous. I want to know what you guys think and who else is involved in these Hollywood, backwood, top 1% secret
Yeah.
organizations, because I'm sure there's a lot of names that we didn't mention that are in
Absolutely.
Mhm.
clubs and groups and organizations and sex trafficking rings and everything. And I know there's a lot of names that if we did mention, we'd get taken down again. So 216-859-8699. Once again, that's 216-859-8699 is the Rebel hotline. It works 24/7, 365 for all of our shows, even if we're not in conspiracy season, even if you're listening in podcast form on a Wednesday at 10 a.m., the phone number still works. 216-859-8699 works for our show, works for Shaney's Off Air,
Mm-hmm.
works for The Pigeonhole, works for Behind Enemy Lines, the Cleveland sports show based out of Pittsburgh that's going to be airing at 10 a.m. on WSRR Radio on weekdays. You can even use it to talk about True Vault Escapades, the Fallout-based radio drama that airs at 10 p.m. on weekdays here on WSRR Radio, or any of our great programming or artists that you listen to on WSRR Radio. You can also get closer with us, the hosts, the show hosts, the artists, and everybody in the community by joining. Get a little closer. Not Diddy close.
Not that close.
No,
Whoa,
not that-
whoa,
no.
whoa, Diddy.
But just a
Stay
little,
back.
just a little closer. At WSRRadio.com, you can get the link to the Discord server and join us in any of the chat channels. Continue this discussion in the conspiracy season, because even in the conspiracy section, because even though conspiracy season is over, none of this stops
Oh,
like
yeah.
we've been going to.
We're going to retouch on Diddy because his
Yeah.
trial starts in May of next year.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah. We'll be talking
we'll be
about
coming
the Diddler.
back.
So make sure you stay tuned to WSRR Radio and WSRRradio.com. Follow all of our social media links. And thanks again to Synergy Music Studio out of Chicago, GenericClothes.com, and Hellbender Vinyl
Yeah.
out of Pittsburgh, PA, our awesome sponsors that keep us on the air as well as the independent music scene alive and well. Until next time, I've been Radio's Rebel DJ Style. To my right, Shaney.
For the last time of the year. Ready?
Yep.
Ready? Okay, do it again. Reintroduce it.
Shaney. On the board is Jules.
Yeah.
I
Got some
tried.
ghosts in this biatch.
Peace.